ladies. I am Shannon Mitchell, a Black millennial business owner, the founder of Shalo Glow LLC, an all-natural skincare company that helps you glow from head to toe. I am a champion for your daily self-care, business care, and intentional wellness.
Hey, y'all. I'm Christine Gautreaux, a white social justice advocate, an international speaker, coach, published author, and dancing social worker who helps you upgrade yourself and community care.
Together, we are Women Connected in Wisdom, a podcast grounded in the 8 dimensions of wellness, and the co-founders of the Women Connected in Wisdom community.
And we like to get together every week and have intentional conversations about how to be wise in business and relationships and wellness. Like, we bring on expert guests because we love to learn. And
Yes.
we know that we don't have to do this by ourselves.
And that's what I like about it. There's things that we know well, we do well, and then things we know we might need help in, or, areas we want to get better at. I always say opportunities, where do you want to grow? And that's what I love about the community that we're building. Like, if I have questions about investing, now I'm thinking about this book. Oh, investing is your superpower. If we're talking about emotions, I'm thinking about Eileen Dillon and this 51 years of experience and research that she's been doing to bring us the resources that we talk about, so super grateful to be here and excited to talk about physical wellness at the end of the year. This is where I might cheat a little bit and allow myself to indulge in some things I usually take out of my menu. But keeping it front of mind and maintaining our wellness, how we talk about, is always important. So I'm looking forward to diving into this conversation with you ladies today.
Need to bring all that wisdom down.
Right? We need all of it. It's the end of the year, right? 2023, need all the wisdom from all of the situations this year.
Right? And all the unity.
Mm-hmm. And the unity. Would not have wanted to be isolated, right?
Absolutely. How are you,
How are
my
you?
friend?
I'm good. I'm grateful. I was just thinking about Lori and heart math. Like, what do I want to center in my heart? And for today, it's been gratitude. And what do I always do? Gratitude is the one. And then today was a couple of different things, celebrating us wrapping up the podcast for the year and being on episode 141 and all of what that means, right? And also celebrating, and I know we're not talking about our guest yet, but I am so excited to have her on and to talk about all the wellness that we've been able to share through the world this year, Amazon bestsellers again. So that's where I am. Maybe reflection. Gratitude, celebration, and reflection is where I'm at.
Oh, I like it.
Thank
You want to know something I'm grateful for?
Yes.
Let's see what came in the mail.
Oh. Do something. Just thumb the pages. Just.
Right?
It's
So beautiful. I'm
beautiful.
very excited. Our books have been coming in a little slower, and usually because it's holiday season. So
Yes.
I was excited to get these, and I have to confess because I'll be in trouble because you're our social media guru. I did
Yes.
not video the unboxing, so
Okay.
I may have to go back and stage a little bit of a video unboxing.
Okay. You can have some grace there. Yeah,
Right.
and I'll do it. I'll do it when I get my books. Yeah, we'll have stuff.
It's so fun. And, in volume 2, I wrote about physical wellness and it being about our whole selves, right? It being about how we look at ourselves as not just one thing, right? In physical wellness. That's why I'm excited to have this conversation today with our colleague and our friend. And
Yeah.
I am, yeah, I'm thinking about this year hasn't gone the way I expected it to go. There's been a lot of things that were unexpected. Um,
Okay.
a lot of challenging stuff and a lot of good stuff, right? I mean, that's
Yes.
the way the world works, and
Yes.
I'm guessing that it's probably that way for a lot of people.
I really
And
feel like it is.
yeah, and so as we're looking at what worked and what didn't work, I want to remind us to be really gentle with ourselves. We were doing a Women Connected in Wisdom spotlight earlier today with Dr. Cynthia Phelps, who's a friend of the show with Inner Ally, and she has a new class coming up. Help me remember, Shannon, the title of it.
Let's see. I
Um,
have it written down. Release the habit, the gentle path to change.
right. I was
Mhm.
thinking about that when we were talking to her about we can be really hard on ourselves. I'll speak for myself. I can be really hard on myself.
Yes.
and and I think about that as I'm wrapping up this year and looking and kind of auditing the year about what worked, what didn't work, what do I want to do differently next year. And really, like you said at the start of the show, leading with gratitude and affirming the good. We have a practice in interplay where we affirm the good, right?
Mhm. It's so
And
important.
yeah, and I think I want to create some space for storytelling and being witnessed. And I think I personally still have a lot to process from this year. So
Yes. And, we're talking about our chapters, talking about volume 2, and that's why I was super excited to write about intellectual wellness and a repeatable workflow, right? And even though sometimes, hey, I planned this was my workflow. I know I had 2 hours and another pipe burst, and there goes the 2 hours and the 5 and the 24, and the week is completely different than it might be. Sometimes we can contain it, sometimes we can't. But what I love about Dr. Phelps' research and her spotlight earlier, and the fact that she also was our editor, right, for volume 2, one of the people on our team. She was able to help me comb through that process. And while she was doing her research, and building her class that she looks forward to offering to the public soon, also able to help me walk through that process of, hey, this is how you help your team. This is how you check in with them. And I do think about it happening, those check-ins with yourself or with your team, that also needs compassion, right? We know things move. As business partners, things moved, right? I can say, as the person who set SMART goals, okay, Christine, this is our time deadline, for the T on SMART. But we also have to understand that these things are out of our control, so there's no reason for me to come to you unprofessionally or without empathy. We're about to talk about empathy a little bit more, right? And that actually helps the sustainability. It helps you get to the finish line. It helps you keep those relationships. And actually, I believe it makes you stronger on the other side when you get to that part. And you can say, ooh, what did I do here? Could I have done better? When you work through it and process it, that actually helps it be more sustainable. And that's what I talk about with maximizing your capacity.
yeah, I think about the physical wellness piece of that, right? When I think about stress, and I'm excited to have our guest conversation today because she has some new work coming out into the world and can probably give us some really big insights. But I'm thinking I should tell our listeners what our physical wellness definition is so they're not guessing.
Let's do it.
Does that work? All right, let's. Physical wellness is the ability to maintain a quality of life that allows you to thrive in your daily activities without undue fatigue or physical stress. Physical wellness recognizes that our daily choices, habits, and behaviors have an impact on our overall health, well being, and quality of life.
Yes. And for me, what sticks out is the quality of life. I think about how intersectional all the different dimensions are, right? And when we think about physical wellness, I think about occupational wellness and telling myself, I'm not going to get attacked at work. That not only cause emotional and mental stress, but also physical stress, right? So in order to minimize my physical stress and the likelihood of chronic illness later on, I'm going to vote for my environmental wellness, right? My social wellness, my occupational wellness, and change where I physically spend my time so that I can maintain my wellness and in other areas continue to grow and continue to build on, the things that I've already accomplished and have been working for the past year.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I'm thinking about our guest who in volume 2, wrote a spiritual wellness chapter.
Yes, she
And
did.
we often think about her in the spiritual wellness category. But I am excited to hear about her latest project and what's happening, like how it relates to physical wellness. I mean, we all know they're all tied together, right? Like all these 8 dimensions, y'all, it's not like they're separate. They're woven
No,
together for our wellness. But, teasing them out a little and looking at them individually, I
it
think
helps.
helps us to know where are we with them.
It's very important. And especially I've been thinking about you and what you say you do at the end of the year, right? Looking at your wins, looking at what happened and really teasing out what happened. Where are we at with our goals? What do we need to do next? And it'll make sense, when we bring our guest up, why we're excited to have this conversation about physical wellness, even though she's one of our spiritual wellness experts. So are you ready for me to read her bio?
But let's do
Okay.
it.
Okay, beautiful. So, ladies, today we have Marla Durden as our expert guest. And as an artist, activist, and medicine woman working in conscious co creation with nature, Marla is a creative consultant, leadership coach, and transformational facilitator, a highly sensitive empath with 30 years' experience in the fields of personal growth and development. She's a strategic and creative thinker whose joy is to help people reconnect with their innate divinity and to share their greatest gifts. She is a dance chaplain and art of ensoulment coach in Cynthia Winton Henry's Hidden Monastery, a certified interplay leader, and a member of Interplay and Body Wisdom's Integrity and Innovation Wisdom Council. Marla is also the producer and host of Watering Wholeness, a monthly community call for the Women of Wisdom Foundation. Help us welcome to the stage Marla Durden. Hi,
Marla.
Marla. Hey,
Hello, how are
good to see you.
you?
Super grateful to be having this conversation with you.
Me too. Me too.
So, and when I think about your work, and how your bio says that you help women, let's see where it is, helping them share their greatest gifts. What comes up for me is this book, this beautiful cover that Christine just held up, and how excited our ladies were to see it for volume 2, and how much they've been having a really good time, fun looking at it, fun talking about it, and how much confidence it gave them to have their stories in that cover. So great job. Thank you so
Thank
much.
you. Thank you. Such a joy. Such a
You're
wonderful
welcome.
joy and honor.
Thank you so much. So I know that you have a project that you're working on. We'll get into the specifics, but we were talking about this cover. I want to hear what you've been working on. Tell me about the cover and what you have going on now.
Oh my God, y'all. I'm so excited. I am creating, we're almost like, we're like coming up on it any minute
Okay.
now. The Magical You Playbook and Embodied Self-Care Journal. And this is about remembering who you are, embracing self-love, and joyfully living your purpose. And the what it's really about is remembering that you're magic, remembering that you are magic, and that these bodies that we walk around in are divine, and that everything around us wants to help us and support us and love us. And it's about caring for ourselves and cherishing this beautiful physicality and our relationship with each other and the world. So I'm super excited, as you can tell.
Yum, yum, yum.
So important.
Well, Marla, I have a question because we titled the episode Be More You because that was your working title of this new book. Tell us how it went. Well, first of all, tell us where the Be More You comes from because I know it's still threaded throughout there.
Oh, absolutely. And really, this whole book, I just have to say, oh my goodness gracious, this book came at, spiritual thing is like this book came because the grandmother of the mushroom, Maria Sabina, came to me. I'm sorry, I'm plenty word, and said, "You need to write this book." Like I'm like, what? Right? I've always wanted to write a book. I always knew that there was a book in there, but like she like came like, you need to write this book. And like I wasn't even on mushrooms.
I was going to ask.
You Marla's out there in the Pacific Northwest where all that's illegal and used for wellness purposes. Yeah.
Yes, it is.
Yeah.
So how was that for you? Not even on the book, and then you felt led to do this.
It was like pick up a pen and take these notes. Like
Right.
serious. And then the thing
Mhm.
is I actually had all of the stuff. The book obviously comes out of my know and what I've done, and I actually had most of the stuff, the elements. I had them. I just didn't know how to bring them together. And I was guided to bring them together in a way to do this. So I started out with Be More You. And where that came from is my favorite quote is, and actually was on my business card for years. I just pulled it up. This was my business card, my graphic design many years ago, back in
Great
Texas,
day.
right? And in the back of the card says, Today you are you, that is truer than true. There is no one alive who is youer than you. The Dr. Seuss quote. And so for me, it's been that whole thing about like what is our expression? What is our expression? And as you know, I wrote this chapter for your book, for our book, about remembering who you are. That actually came from a series of dreams and visions, like this very strange spiritual experience that I had. I can see my seat's getting lower and lower here. And and so I had all of these visions, right? Remember who you are. So I'm thinking that this is what it's about, right? That I'm going to write a book about remembering who you are and all of this, especially coming out of the beautiful work and working on the project with you. However, Maria Sabina showed up. And I'm thinking, okay, it's going to be about remember who you are, which is really about being more you. And then, Christine, I'm going to actually have to give you some part of this credit and suggesting that we do adobo, a dance on behalf of. And so I think I shared this story with you, Christine. So I started doing a dance on behalf of about 3 weeks ago now, 2.5 weeks ago. And basically what adobo is, dance on behalf of, is you set an intention to do a dance on behalf of yourself or something, and then you put on a piece of music and you dance. And it's like a dance prayer is really what it is. Anyway, so I started doing the dobos, and I had this amazing mystical experience that happened where I was staying in the woods and the coyotes came. So I did this dance on behalf of, I asked I did an honoring of my father, and basically my father ended up showing up in a couple of different ways as coyote. And helping me make candy that I didn't even know how to make. All of a sudden I was making candy. And when I finished making the candy, it tasted like the candy that my father bought for me when I was 5 years old, when he would pick me up from kindergarten.
Wow.
And it really blew me away, right? And then I'm sitting here going, what is going on? And Maria Sabina again comes and says, the name of the book is not Be More You. It's the Magical You Playbook. And I'm like, look at all of this magic.
Right. So that's what I want to go into. Can we go into us being magical, right? And for that person that feels like they're separated, because we get separated, right? We talk about decolonization, we talk about conditioning. What would you say to that person?
To the person who
you're bringing closer to their divinity and reminding them in the playbook as they're journaling that this is who you are. Remember who you are. Be more you. Remember the magic, but they don't feel that way right now. What would you say to that person?
I would say to them that you have forgotten, that you have fallen into forgetting, and that this is an opportunity for you to take a journey back home to yourself.
Mm-hmm.
I would also say, turn off the television, cut off the hip hop music and the rap, and go sit under a tree until you can begin to hear or feel something, so that you can begin to come home to yourself. And I would also say, there is so much more here than you can ever imagine. There's so much inside of you that is beyond anything that you can even imagine. It's beyond anything that we can even imagine. It really is, right? And so I would say to them, if this is something that you're seeking, give yourself this gift. You're worth it.
I want to go deeper on the hip hop and rap, because I've been thinking about it, right? The intonations, the beat, the messages we could talk about, right? Sometimes I feel like with lyrics and certain people, I do get more in touch with who I am as a person. But psychologically, and always thinking about things from that lens, I think that sometimes the rhythm, of course, the message can take us out of that and intentionally be putting us somewhere else. So especially as an empath, can you speak to why you specifically say that when you're talking about the sensory engagement that goes with everything else.
I would actually say all the pop music. I'm not saying don't listen to pop music, right? I'm saying popular music, like we actually, I mean, let's just come down to it. We live in the Matrix, right? Matrix has its own agenda. The Matrix wants to continue, right? It's moving that way, which is further and further away from nature. So that's why I say cut that stuff off so that we can hear and instead of aligning ourselves with the artificial matrix, align ourselves with the natural matrix, with the womb matrix of the mother. And you know what, it's so funny. I was talking to a friend yesterday. I was like, man, what would my life have been like if I had taken that job that would have made me the president of a cosmetics company by now? You know what I mean? Like, had I like taken all of those corporate offers, and I realized that I would be a lot wealthier.
I hear you. We could talk about financial wellness, right? Outside when we talk about money and numbers.
However,
Yes.
like I took the long road and I know it's about to pay off. I know it's paying off. I mean, it's clear. It's coming. It's actually, it's here.
I hear you.
But what came from taking the slow road, what came from trying to figure out how to pull myself out of the artificial matrix and become more and more connected to the earth, is the amount of inner wealth is beyond anything I could have ever imagined. And the gifts are exponential.
I love it. And I hear you. I agree with you. And I would definitely say it's worth it. What were you going to say, Christine?
I have a funny story for y'all talking about music that I don't think I've told either one of y'all yet. So it was a couple of weeks ago, Joe and I it was First Friday's healing circle down in the Little Five Points Community Center. Carolyn Renee, which both of y'all know, who's one of our authors at Women Connected Wisdom, had invited my husband and I to come in and facilitate the healing circle that night and do some art and things like that. So we went down, we had this beautiful circle, we're doing art, and with a small group, but it was a group of empaths, it was a group of healers, it was a group of very in tune people. And I had popped on some music and I wasn't paying attention because I was, facilitating, getting craft stuff out, and just hit play thinking I had put it on an instrumental, but it wasn't. And it had words that weren't in alignment with what we were doing. And some of I can't even remember what the song was, but like I heard the word crazy about the time I was thinking, oh, that was not what I intended. And immediately the music cuts off. And I was like, well, that was weird. And one of the participants said, yeah, I really didn't like that song. And I was like, well, that was powerful. You didn't like that song. We're talking about all this, and it immediately shuts down. So it was just funny because we were all, especially because we were in circle and we were in ceremony, we were doing a healing circle. So we were all very attuned to the words, and like we could feel it, like that it didn't match. And I just want to say thank you, Marla, because I talk about this often with clients, but I mean, in full transparency, like I still fall into it myself, especially when, it's so easy to numb sometimes. Like when we're overwhelmed or when we're stressed out, it is, it's easy to read too much or watch too much TV or do that. So I really, it's so simple, but it's not. And it's so deep about what you're calling people to do and how important it is.
Yes. So, and I see you saying thank you too, Marla. Absolutely. Want to give space for that. All right. And I want to go back to how it's all tied together, because we're talking about physical wellness, right? And we're talking about the spiritual understanding of where stuff comes from, the energy we can feel. How would you describe those two things coming together? You being one of our spiritual experts, right? And reminding people again who they are, journaling, and the physical part. I get it, but I think that sometimes we still compartmentalize it in our mind. So how did you see it all coming
I know,
together?
so funny. I almost want to laugh, but I'm not laughing at you. I mean, I'm
I
laughing at the
understand.
reality of what we're living with, right? Like, think about it. Think about it. You can't do anything without the body. Like, all that
Right.
sensitivity is in the body. The spirit, you're sensing it in the body. It's just like, right? It's almost crazy, right? Christine, we interplay, right? We know this.
Hmm.
Well, and
And
everybody talk about everything starts with the physicality of the body.
hmm
Which in our culture, in Western society, we often like to just talk from the neck up, like, and we intellectualize things, and or, you look at capitalism and the diet industry, and then they want to talk about just one part of the body, like, if you're a size 6, or if you look this way, and,
right.
so yeah, I mean, everything is physical.
Right. And for me, it's like you said, we think about it in a head up type of way, really in our mind about it, really logical, right? Or book smart. And because as women, we're taught to separate how we feel about it. And sometimes we don't honor our voice, right? We're taught to overextend and think about other people. So before even getting down to the rest of how our body feels, we're not even thinking about us. We're thinking about everybody else. You know what I mean? And so when you come back to I'm magical and I am in and outside of time and have potential that I can reach to and may still not reach it because that's how unlimitless it limitless, excuse me, definitely tried to make up a new word. But sometimes it's hard to get there because I'm not even on myself. I'm thinking about everybody else before me, right? So that's what I love about volume 1 and talking about physical wellness and Shalo Glow. It might seem really simple as I thought, Marla, I was having a conversation with people, right? To go from lotion to shea butter and coconut oil and aloe and natural stuff. I thought that was going to be the conversation, but really it's about people seeing their words, seeing that you are magic. You are worth more than even one sentence about you being worth taking care of and well taken care of. That's a whole lifetime of conversation. And every day, I want you to be well taken care of. And the way I remind myself is by after the shower, making sure I do that and then making sure that I replenish my skin and think about the person that I'm replenishing that just went through all these situations. And then think about, okay, well, now what does my team need? Then I go to my business partners, then I go to the team, but I got to make it back to me. And when we're talking about corporate positions and the money that can be made, for me, I was up in my head about it, right? And then it's the team, and the team has kids. So I know that I, as a young professional, I might not get Christmas off, right? The fathers are getting Christmas off before me, but then I end up, where do I end up is the question, right? At the end of that holiday season, supposed to go into the new year super excited with energy as a young person. And that's not the case if that's what you're doing and not remembering your power and sitting in that. So I'm super excited about the journaling piece of it too. Hmm.
Yeah, I have a question for you, Marla. Um, so where what would be the first step? I know we talk about incremental steps. And when you think about somebody who may not be connected with their magic, or they're overwhelmed, or they're feeling like maybe they're depressed, right? All kinds of things that people go through during this time of year. What's your first incremental step to get them reconnected, to get them on that path?
It really will depend on how far astray they've gone, right? The first thing I would say is stop. Just give yourself a minute. And if you feel like you don't have a minute, when you wake up in the morning, don't hop out of bed. Just take a couple of minutes and breathe and say some prayers of gratitude and ask for guidance and say thank you in advance for the love and the support that you know is coming for you, and ask to be shown
I love it.
to go to bed.
And it'll fall in place just like that. And there's something powerful too to have the whole world, everybody and their demands have to wait just past this wall. You know what I mean? The few minutes I'm going to give myself in the morning, it doesn't matter if the phone goes off. It doesn't matter what happens. It'll be after this.
Hey, y'all, this is a great place to take a break, take a deep breath, and hear from our awesome sponsors that make Women Connected in Wisdom podcast possible. Shannon, we are so grateful that Shayla Glow is the sponsor of the Women Connected in Wisdom podcast. And I wanted to take this moment to ask you, when you think about the people who use Shayla Glow, who are we talking about?
That's a good question. I think about 3 groups, really. One, the group that's removing hair, right? So whether you're using laser hair removal, waxing, shaving, you got to make sure that you're putting back what you're taking out. The second group, I think about those with dry skin and the problems that might cause, right? The scars, itching, burning, whatever the situation is, you definitely need all 3 steps, right? The exfoliation, making sure you're taking the dead skin cells off. The oil, putting in the moisture, and then the shea butter with the aloe, sealing it, helping you heal. Those things help both groups, right? And third, for the third group is those with chronic illness. You know, the story is personally from cancer and different diseases that our population is dealing with on a daily basis throughout families as individuals. So I'm thinking about my mom and my grandmother and those around me with the same generational ties, right? And what positive, healthy habits we can start to make sure that we're maintaining our wellness, especially because the skin is like the cape, the exterior, the shield for your immune system. So with COVID, we have to be intentional about covering ourselves. And those are the groups I think about.
I love it. And you know what else I love about your product? It's all natural, handmade, and it smells great, y'all. So
yes,
yay.
Tested. Yes, esthetician tested and approved. Yes. What about you? When you think about your company, what groups of people do you think about?
Well, you know, I work with individual coaching clients. I work in community classes and with corporate teams. And with all of them, I use a strength-based, embodied approach to help folks connect with themselves and access joy, reduce burnout, and build resilience. You know, especially during these times, I think we need it. I think we need all the hashtag partnership power we can get.
Yes. And so when you hold that space for yourself, I think it's easier to stay there.
Yes. And then the other thing that I would say is do not turn on the morning news. And wait at least half an hour before you pick up your phone to look at your social media.
I love both of those.
Because most of us have abandoned ourselves. I mean, I know I abandoned myself when I was about 11. Right? I mean, you know, I was kind of here, but not here, right? Okay. And so most of us have abandoned ourselves, and we need to come back to ourselves and listen to ourselves and trust ourselves. And every single one of us needs to love ourselves enough to give ourselves that time in the morning to be with ourselves with love and tenderness.
So Marla, this may be too personal a question, so edit or feel free to pass. But, you know, I'm a big believer in morning routines and for my wellness. And so would you be willing to share like your morning routine and your wellness routine for our listeners?
Share a little bit of it. How about I give you some, not the whole thing, but some insights into it. Well, I do that before I even get out of bed. I'm on my back. My eyes are not even open. I'm aware that I'm in my bed now. The first thing I do is I give thanks and gratitude for whatever comes to mind, all of the people, and all of the things that I know are good in my life. And then I go into prayers of saying that I receive the good that's here for me. I receive the lessons that are here for me with ease and grace. That's kind of my first piece. And then I'll get up, and stretch and do a little walk or something like that. And now I'm doing a dance every morning. Which is really cool. Yeah. And then I have coffee or tea. Of course, I'd say affirmations and those kinds of things, but that's pretty much it.
I love it. For years, I used to do morning pages, Julia Cameron's morning pages from The Artist Way. I've been being called recently back to that practice. I wrote this morning, just for listeners that don't know, morning pages are where you just write whatever pops up into your brain, and you just have a set time. It's her prescription, I think usually 3 pages, handwritten or long. And I always kind of do it by time instead of the pages, but that's just me because I don't always follow prescriptions. But
What time do you do?
well, it usually 10 to 15 minutes
Okay.
because that's what I've got. Like,
I hear you.
I like to walk in the labyrinth, and I mean, it depends on the weather too. And I've been doing dances on behalf of, and yeah, I was trying to figure out ways to journal more with the dances on behalf of, but I'm when something pay attention. I especially pay attention when something shows up for me 3 times. Like, because I've always asked spirit, be gentle with me and be really clear. So if it shows up 3 times, I know I'm supposed to be paying attention, right? And so morning pages keep showing up in ways that, and I mean, I did it for years and then I stopped and I got out of routine. I can't even remember why. And so as a writer, I find them fascinating because it really does like clear all the gunk out of your head so you've got clean pages. So I was thinking about that, and I've been loving our dances on behalf of and figuring out yeah. So it's been fascinating what's been bubbling up. This year is just whew.
It's been a doozy. And Marla, I want to talk more about subtle energy. So you shared about it on you share about it on your website, right? And we talked about you being an empath. I think that empath is a word that comes up a lot now, right? How do you, as someone who remembers your magic and helps people get there themselves, how do you protect your energy or stay mindful of energy when you're so sensitive and around so many people?
Yeah, it really is a whole practice. It really is. First of all, being I live under an oak tree. Thank goodness that helps. Number one, number one. Number two is grounding. There, you pull your aura in tight. There's a way to create an energy shielding around yourself. Trusting my instincts and my guts, not being around a whole lot of people for a whole lot of time. Like if something says, I'll go over there, then don't go over
That makes
there. Right.
sense. Yes.
Yeah, and then of course, like, making sure that you're bathing in good water, you're drinking good water, you're eating good food, you have really good healthy probiotics. All of that feeds the entire system to help protect us.
Yes. And for me, probiotics has been huge. When I found out that the gut is like the second brain, and so everything goes through your gut, you definitely want to make sure that we are balanced, our pH is balanced. Anytime somebody's ill, I'm asking about sleep, water, and kombucha, to make sure that that's in the routine so that we can stay as centered as possible for as long as possible.
Yeah, and speaking of physical wellness, I was telling Christine that I started making coconut yogurt.
Mm.
Oh my God.
Say more.
Like, so I just, I've been again hearing it, like, hearing it and there's something, I don't know if you guys are familiar with reality transurfing. It's a
No.
book written by, it's huge, the huge Facebook community.
Okay.
Reality transurfing, by Vadim Zeland, a Russian man, and it's really about teaching you how to craft your own reality. And actually one of his things that he talks about, I mean, the book, hold on, give me a second, I'll go get it. It's right here. Is it
Absolutely.
okay?
No problem. Yeah, sure. We
We
go
love
with the flow.
it, right?
Yeah, that's what we do.
I just pulled it up online. It's a
Oh, look
beauty,
at this.
right?
And as a nerd, I love a good sized book. What is this? Wait,
Oh my gosh, it's huge.
the the light
No,
is
no,
blocking
no.
the word. Reality. What
Transurfing, steps 1 through 4. Is that the same book, Marla?
it's
Yeah,
beautiful.
Y'all, for
yeah,
our people who are listening and not watching, this book is probably about the size of a dictionary. Wouldn't you think, Marla?
Yes.
yeah.
Thicker than Harry Potter books.
Thicker
Right.
than Harry Potter books. That's a good reference.
Oh,
Right.
it's definitely the size of a dictionary.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And one of the things he talks about is listening to the rustle of the morning stars, which is basically what I was talking about. Like, don't just listen, just be like when you first come back into this realm, don't run, oh my God, I got to do this. Just
Jump
listen
into the
for,
next task. Right.
just listen because a lot of guidance is given then. Like, and it'll be like you got like, worries over here. You gotta do this, you gotta do this, you gotta do this, you gotta do this. And it'll be like, go over here, go over here. Right. But mostly we'll go, because we're hearing that. And if we just follow that little whisk, it's like opening up a new road for us.
Yes. Yes.
I'm thinking about this from my morning this morning in regards to physical wellness because last night I ate something that I really loved, but I knew my body didn't love it. And I made the choice anyways. And I may have to pause and get a drink of water, y'all.
No problem. Let's see. So I wanted to ask you about dancing prayers. We talked about that. We talked about subtle energy. Can we go more into watering wellness? And what comes to mind when you think about that? I think about how we talk about maintaining our wellness.
Water is so important. And the quality of the water that we drink. If you think about it, everything is made of water, right? And
Yeah,
water is actually a crystal. And most of us are drinking this water that comes through these pipes at these angles, right? It's doing this through with all of these chemicals, and then we're
right.
drinking it, right? And so we're no longer drinking living water. And this is why you can vortex your water. There's things that you can do to help bring the water back to life and invigorate it. So that, and then also why you want to make sure that the water that you are drinking, because water has memory. Water has memory, right? Dr. Masaru Emoto, like there's so many experiments have been done at school in I think it was in Germany. They did this whole experiment where so it's been proven over and over again that water has memory. And so, right?
The research study that you're talking about, is it the one where they spoke into the water and looked at the different ways the crystals formed in the frozen water? And when you spoke love, it was beautiful. And when you spoke hate or things upon that nature, it literally looked cracked. You could tell the
Exactly.
difference. Hmm.
Exactly. And then, I mean, it's gone so far that even school kids have done it where they've had two different plants. They've done water that they fed to do two different plants. One water said, I love you. One water said, I hate you. And they would just water the plants. And the plants that got the water with love flourished, and the ones that got the hate water died.
Wow. So can we talk more about, what did you say? How do you reinvigorate your water? How do you bring it back to life after it hits these hard corners in the pipes?
Right. So it's coming,
She's coming back. Hold on, let's see. Okay, you're back.
okay.
Okay.
You want to filter out as many of the chemicals, obviously, as you can, because we want to be drinking. So lots of ways. We can put it in a bottle, a glass jar, and put it in the sun, sit it in the sun for a couple of hours. We can rejuvenate it that way. We can shake it. We can put the words on it and then shake it, really give it a really good hard, good 30-second minute long shake while we're thinking good thoughts. We can vortex it. You can buy vortex machines. There's water vortexes, vortices, machines. Anyway, you know what I'm saying. And we can spin our water in
Yes.
that way as well. And then you can also have your water sitting in a glass jar on top of something that has like a charging plate, a sacred geometry plate. You can add shungite to your water, which is a stone that pulls out radiation. But most importantly, you want to speak to your water. You can also add good salts, Celtic sea salt, or like the Redmond salt, but not iodized table salt.
I love it. And it's interesting that you say with the vortex. I was recently when I've been making art tea, I've been doing this thing that Miss Lupa taught me. I used to work with a naturopathic doctor who taught me how to make kombucha and dehumidify, do all this different stuff, right? Sauerkraut, all this stuff. And she would have me turn it a certain amount of times, counterclockwise, like 21 times. And the other day I was clinking my spoon. I said, I wonder why Miss Lupa had us do that. And probably vortexing it, getting that water back where it should be. That makes sense. I love it. So, what were you gonna say, Christine?
Oh, I'm back. Thanks for your patience. Yeah, I was just thinking about all this in regards to physical wellness. Because heading back to that story I started and then my choking about took me out. But sorry about that. Physical
It's
wellness
okay.
is important for me today. I had eaten that I wanted, but my body, I knew it was something that doesn't usually agree with me. So this morning I woke up with heartburn. Like I woke up, I'm thinking about this in regards to like I wasn't able to sit there and give gratitude or be in that moment, that sacred moment between
Right.
sleep and wake, because I had not taken care of my physical wellness, right? So I'm just thinking about and not being hard on myself, just honoring and acknowledging like it's little decisions like it's little decisions that make that shift on whether we can be present to these other things or not, right?
So
Just
true.
just thinking about that today.
Yeah.
And yeah.
And that's why I love we talk about on the podcast, notice and not judge, right? It's important to notice that, okay, this is why. Or you ladies help me with this, right? I used to be able to eat spicy. I got older. My body started responding different. You notice why something happening and what to do next. But we can do that with self-compassion and try to end on a better note and start tomorrow on a different note. Yeah, definitely. So when we think about what we're doing this week, ladies, in physical wellness, what is our wisdom in action? Do you have anything specific that comes to mind?
I'm going to go first because I wrote it down and I
Okay.
need to do this. I am going to go Marla's clear direction. I'm not even going to say it was advice. Mine is hashtag turn off the TV. Turn off the TV is my physical wellness this week.
I
And
like
I'm not a huge TV watcher most of the time, but I have been in a habit lately of doing that, which I don't really like anyway. So it was a very good direction. Thank you, Marla.
yes. And of course, to be an advocate, we know that there's been a lot going on, so if you're resting and you've been on the mend and healing and not doing anything, that's also one of your happy places. You go and you watch something creative to give yourself that space, so it makes sense that it's been on the calendar a little bit more. What about for you, Marla? What's your wisdom in action this week? Or you want me to go first? Okay, okay, I see you. Me go. So I have a couple of hashtags. Let's see. I said receive with ease and grace. I like that. Mhm. Yes, and that's the time to rest, right? I'm physically going to take time away from work and say, "Hey, I'm going to be present here for like you're talking about the wealth and the memories that I want to make up the rest of my life, right?" So be present with family and receive the love with ease and grace. The love, the memories, the gifts, everything, whatever's on the way for me, I receive it. What about
Mm,
you, Marla?
that's beautiful.
Thank you.
I'm going to say the same. I receive, and I'm going to keep dancing.
Keep dancing. I'm gonna put that on mine too because I have been working on dancing. I like to do too, Christine. Keep dancing. Yes, Marla, keep dancing on behalf of. I'm so glad we got to go into that. That was one of my questions. So, can you remind us the name of your book and where they can find it, how they can get in contact with you so they can go deeper into the work that you have?
Oh, well, thank you. Well, the name of the book is The Magical You Playbook and Embodied Self-Care Journal, and it's coming out next week. It might be the end of this week, but I will send you all the link. And if you
Yes.
can send it out to the network, that's how people can find out and have a copy of this really fun and wonderful book. Do I have time to give you the name of the chapters?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Okay. So here are the chapter titles.
You are hearing it. Wait. You're hearing it live and first on Women Connected.
Yes. Hearing it first. Introduction, remember who you are. I thank you to y'all.
Absolutely.
1, you are sacred earth, grounded, connected love. You are living waters, creative, flowing, loving. You are the fire of transformation, passionate, purposeful, sovereign. You are the heart of love, inspired, courageous, grace-filled. You are a powerful creator. Your word is law. You are visionary, perceptive, present, knowing. You are divine, whole, beautiful, embodied grace. Be who you are.
Remind them, Marla. Remind them, Marla. Yeah.
I first of all can't wait till it comes out so I can get my copy. But you know who else is going to love this, Shannon?
Who?
That I'm going to say it on air, that I'm getting it for her holiday present, is Sati Mara.
Oh, Sati. She's going to find out early.
Sati, you're finding out early what your present is this year. It's going to be Marla's new book.
I love that. I think she'll love it.
I know she will.
And Marla, before you go, I do want to ask one more thing. Because when I read your chapter, I was super excited to see you include the research on epigenetics and how we talk about body memories, right? We said water holds memories, bodies hold memories over generations. And one of my goals through Women Connected in Wisdom, being a life and health insurance agent, right, Shaylo Glow, is the compound healing. Because I believe there can be both it could be on the other side, right? So can you talk to the healing that could take place when we're mindful of our bodies, mindful of our movements, and intentional with this work that you're about to put out?
You know what? I have to tell you, like, what happens when we listen to the body and then we follow the wisdom of the body is we have the opportunity for exponential change in every direction. And our bodies are not well because we've forgotten to love our bodies. We've forgotten to listen to our bodies. And so when we listen and when we love our bodies, not only do we open the doorway for exponential change in our lives, but we open the doorways for exponential change in our health. Like for me, like I kept hearing this voice, make the yogurt, you need to start making yogurt. Make yogurt, make yogurt, make yogurt. Then guess what? My housemate bought a yogurt maker and never used it.
Wow.
Never used it. And then finally I was like, it's like, 100 times in front of me, Christine, that maybe you need 3. Sometimes I need 100.
Right.
100 times in front of me, make the yogurt. I made the yogurt. My eyesight improved.
You talking about this coconut yogurt? Wait, so let's talk about that real quick. We got a few minutes. Let's give the people another resource. Tell me about this coconut yogurt, because I've been looking at yogurt in the store, and yogurt, I'm like, I'm not for the dairy. Can you tell me about it?
Yeah. So I know we're running a little.
We have enough time for this though. We'll make space.
So I had been wanting to make yogurt, right? And I was doing the research, and I'm one of those people, when I want to do something like that, I need to do a lot of research. I need to read what people are doing. I see what they're right. And so I was researching the coconut yogurt, and but because I wasn't happy with the yogurt, it just wasn't doing it for me, right?
Okay.
So I went to the co-op, and they had a little jar of this yogurt, and it was like, I think the jar was this big, and it was $17. $17, and it was like ceremonial grade yogurt. Well, I ate the yogurt, and my whole body went, hallelujah, hallelujah. Like we've been waiting for this, and I was like, well, I cannot. $17. Like this is right. This is not going to work.
We got to be sustainable. Yes.
So I was like, they were like, it's easy. I started the people in the Facebook group. It's easy. Just take a dip of the yogurt as your base. If it's coconut yogurt, use coconut yogurt. If it's milk, use milk, whatever.
Right.
And so I got myself some cans of coconut cream, poured them in the yogurt maker, put in a couple things of stuff from my favorite vegan yogurt, and I made it.
Beautiful.
Now I've adapted the recipe. That's a great way to start. You can put something in there with fiber, some apples, some dates, some coconut flour, and then. But what it is it's like, everything it's a microbiome. Our whole body is microbiome, right? And that's what my body was trying to tell me. And because and I literally, and like, this has just started. I mean, I'm only a month or two into this project, but I feel like a different person already.
Super happy to hear that.
It's worth it, I'm telling you. And if you have any questions, I'm ready. I can answer.
Okay.
That. And here's what I love about that for so many reasons, Marla, but you listen to your body, and your body told you if it was happy with it or not, right? And that's what's beautiful, is that being tuned in and listening. And you and I have already talked about this coconut yogurt, and I am writing it down again so I can make it.
It sounds good.
Ready for this.
And the thing is you will get more. There's nothing you can buy in the store is going to give you the amount of probiotics that you really need. Like nothing. When you start making it yourself, you think about it like this. We just talked about the waters. Like when you're making it and you're stirring it in and you're saying, I love you and thank you to the little bacteria, and saying, I know y'all gonna come in my body and love me up, right? I really appreciate y'all. Have a good job. Have a good time. Do a good job, right? Then you eat that. You're literally just made love for yourself. You just made love, right? Like when you make the kombucha that the woman taught you how to make. If you're like when you cook in the soup for your family, right?
Right.
It's the same thing. You're cooking. You're putting that love into your body.
Beautiful. I love it.
Ooh, good conversation, y'all. About physical wellness and loving ourselves.
Yes. Well, Marla, thank you so much for everything you have done for the team. Thank you for the beautiful cover and interior of the book. Thank you for being a guest. We finally got you on the podcast. So super excited to have you help us close out this year with episode 141. That means a lot.
I'm so excited too. Thank you. I'm deeply honored that you allowed me to be your last guest.
Yes, absolutely. Right? We will talk to you soon. Thank you so much again.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Yeah.
I love resources. We have recipes, resources.
Right? I am also just inspired. Like we don't have to wait. So often we wait till January 1st to reset, or like get start today with those resources she gave us.
Yeah. And it also reminded me, we were talking about with Dr. Phelps, right? With change. And we were talking about gentle change and how opposite is what we usually feel. It's so forceful, like do this and the press to end the year strong, And before I go run off in the day, I don't even have to open my eyes. I don't have to do anything. Before I do that, I can say, you know what? Thank you for the ability to breathe without something in my throat. Thank you for another day. Thank you for a bed to lay in, this luxurious bed with pillows and covers, and I'm inside, and all these things, to get back to the basics and remember why we're here and who we are before we go into all these things that we have the opportunity to participate in.
Yeah. Agree.
So guys, we are at the end of episode 141 again, right? We will be off for the next 2 weeks, right? Honoring our physical wellness, occupational, all the dimensions, right? And we have some things coming up for you in 2024. So if you are one of those people and, I'm ready to get ahead, I'm ready to know what my goals are, we have Connected in Vision for the 3rd year in a row on January 10th. So make sure to mark your calendars. That'll be after the podcast. So come back to the podcast on the 3rd. We have the event for you on the 10th, and then we'll have more updates and everything for our projects in 2024 on the other side. But thank you so much for all of our viewers, our listeners, our readers, our audiobook listeners, right? We've had a really good time getting to where we are with the books, with the book. What do we call it? The book series with the podcast. So thank you for being part of our Women Connected in Wisdom community. It means a lot.
Yeah, and we're grateful to be connected. Let us know what ideas you have for 2024. If you want to be a guest or you know somebody that you want to be on the show, we'll talk about it. So, all right, my friend, thank you for this year. Thank you for 2023.
Yes.
We're
Thank
at
you.
that point in it wild that we're going to say see you next year. I'll see you for your glove day on Saturday. But
Yes.
it's wild. It's wild that we're
Right.
here.
And I'm glad you said that. We do have another Glow Club, y'all. So if you want to come out and be in community, we're talking about joy and self-care this Saturday at the retail space, 228 Auburn Avenue, Northeast Atlanta, Georgia, from 1 to 4 p.m. So wrapping up the year together. And we'll see you here at Women Connected in Wisdom live next year. In the meantime, don't forget,
Be well.
be wise, and be whole. We'll see you soon.
Thanks for listening. This has been the Women Connected in Wisdom podcast. On air live on Wednesdays at 5 p.m. Eastern via Facebook and YouTube. Be sure to like, share, and subscribe. Be part of the conversation and get connected at womenconnectedinwisdom.com.